Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you a very powerful understanding for you to feel validated by yourself, for you to drop any feelings of being inferior and understanding how you can more embody who you are meant to be. Now, with this whole process, realize that who we are being in the present moment and the way that we feel about ourselves is going to be what we then perceive on the external environment. So our internal dialogue, the way we view ourselves, is projected out, and then other people are responding to that. So it's important to understand that when we get to the core of what we believe to be true about ourselves and to the core of our self-image, that's when we really have the power to profoundly change our life. Now, with this whole process, realize that the way that we relate our inner world to our outer world is that buffer of what we call our self-image, and is also what determines how we feel about who we are. Now, anytime we feel inferior to anyone else, it is coming from a point of comparison. So right from the get-go, what we are doing is we are comparing who we are with someone else, and we are setting the bar for who we need to be up at a certain place. And if in any way we don't measure up to that bar that we set, we then will feel the feeling of being inferior. So the key to this whole understanding and the power of this whole video is learning to, instead of viewing everything as competitive, instead of viewing everybody else as somebody that we continue to put labels onto, what we can start to do is to release the labels and start to view ourselves and everybody else as just unique, as seeing them as unique for who they are, and that because of that, we can't compare ourselves to them. And in the same way, what we can really begin to do is to let go of the judgments that we have. Now, many times growing up, and especially with the conditioning of our environment, television telling us that we need to look a certain way, we need to have certain things to feel good about ourselves, there's a strong conditioning to who we are and how we identify ourselves, because we think we need these things in order to compare to other people. But the power is in being aware of that feeling, being aware of those thoughts, and then simply choosing to identify with being unique, with not being comparable. And when we start to do that, we start to detach from the necessity to be at a certain bar, and we start to actually appreciate other aspects of who we are. So the power of this video also is in understanding how to appreciate yourself for being unique, and for then, because you're not comparing yourself to a certain standard, you can start to actually embody those feelings. So realize that wherever our focus goes is where our energy is going, and whatever we focus on grows. So if we focus on perspectives that think that we're not enough, that we're not like this person, that because we're not like this person, we shouldn't feel a certain way, that perspective continues to grow. But when we simply decide we're going to change the focus onto what we're grateful for about ourselves, if we have a mole in a certain spot, if we look a certain way, instead of viewing that as something negative, we can start to reframe it and just know that it is a part of who we are. Now, it is not who we are, it is just a characteristic that we can look at, that we can appreciate, but it doesn't have to be something that we identify so much with. So it's really about just looking at it. It's really about appreciating it, but not letting it have so much power over us, whatever characteristic it might be. And then the power of looking at other people and dropping labels has many benefits. One of them is you'll actually feel like you can connect to people at a deeper level, because when there's no labels there, there's no separation. Anytime we label ourselves and we're saying that this is you and that this is me, that is causing the separation. We can acknowledge the uniqueness, but we don't need to label. And anytime we start to label someone else, we start to put them in the box. But the misunderstanding most people have is when we label someone else and put them in a box, we put ourselves in a box, because then we're separating them with the label that they are, and we're re-emphasizing, not knowing it, but we are re-emphasizing the label that we are. So simply realize that when you drop the labels, that when you drop the need, the necessity that we sometimes feel to compare ourselves, we will automatically start to feel better, because we'll start to view ourselves in a more appreciative type light. And as we begin to appreciate who we are, and as we begin to hold the frame about who we are, we start to actually embody more of who we are meant to be. Now, a lot of times, because people can feel how we feel about ourselves, that energy is contagious. We can then learn how to appreciate ourselves, to have a positive self-image by reframing the things that we thought were our negatives, and we can start to see those in a more neutral light, or we can be appreciative for it and start to see it in a positive light. So reframe how you identify yourself. Choose to view yourself in a good light, to be positive about who you are, to have those positive meanings underneath who you are, and then from that point, start to see yourself as unique. Start to see other people as unique for who they are, and what you'll find is that those labels start to fall away naturally, and you're able to then have a deeper connection with other people. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it, share it if you found it of value, and as always, I will see you guys on the next vid. Peace, much love, namaste. All right, bye.